Hey, hey, hey. Thank you for tuning in to episode 5 of the SMB Labs podcast, presented by 910 West. We experiment with small business so you don't have to. Today's guest is Blau. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Holmes.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I'm here with Blau of the Blau Company. They are a full-service accounting, tax preparation, and financial firm located in Tempe. Aaron, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the company?
Sure. So I'm a native Arizonan. Actually, grew up in the neighborhood that's pretty much right outside my window here at Baseline and McClintock. I grew up in the Lakes. So I'm a local boy, a Marcus Deniza graduate, and then I went to Arizona State University. Our firm is pretty cool because our firm is actually over 50 years old, and yes, I know I aged very, very well.
Yeah, you look fabulous.
But in reality, we are a second-generation firm. I'm actually a third-generation accountant. So my father started the firm after he graduated from Arizona State University in 1965-ish. And I took it over about 11 years ago. I'm now entering my 17th tax season, and I've been managing the firm for about 12 years. And I'm currently the sole owner and sole shareholder. My father, unfortunately, did pass fairly recently, and today just happens to be his birthday. So wherever he is, happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that is pretty amazing. 50 years in business, you 17 tax seasons. I mean, my goodness, like I've known a few tax people and not many stick in for that long. So it's amazing. And there can't be many accounting firms around that have the kind of history that yours does.
No, I was very fortunate. Being a very entrepreneurial person in general, very few people have the ability to step into a firm and then from the age of 26, 27 years old, actually manage the full operations of an accounting firm. So there was a lot of trust placed in me, but I've always been a really entrepreneurial guy. In fact, my degree from ASU was actually in entrepreneurship. It's not in accountancy.
Oh.
After I graduated from ASU, I did go back to have additional accounting courses, and from there I became an enrolled agent and a certified public accountant as well. So I really have that entrepreneurial spirit and really enjoy working with small business owners.
And that'll make more sense when we talk about how you guys work with businesses in a little bit. But you mentioned being an enrolled agent. And so for people who don't know what that is, so for all those lucky people out there that have never been audited, what is an enrolled agent and how do you help them?
Yeah, so most people do know what a CPA is, a certified public accountant, but enrolled agents are a subclass of the tax industry. They are federally authorized tax practitioners who are able to represent taxpayers before the IRS. So if you have an audit or a collection issue, an enrolled agent has all the same rights and responsibilities as a CPA or an attorney, and really focuses on protecting taxpayer rights. And enrolled agents do have annual continuing education requirements, triennial registration requirements. We have to take annual ethics as well. So enrolled agents are really a very important part of the tax landscape. There's about 55,000 nationwide compared to about 400 or so thousand CPAs who focus in on tax. So
that's an important distinction.
While there are CPAs,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Absolutely. So there's CPAs in all different areas of accounting, whether it's industry accounting, taxation, auditing, litigation support. Just because somebody's a CPA doesn't mean that they specialize in taxation. So, but there are about 400,000 that statistically, that we've been told anyway, there's about 400,000 CPAs that do focus on the tax world. So it's not that one is better. It's not even that they're necessarily a CPA is equal to an EA or vice versa. Both have a great place within the tax landscape in the same way that a nurse and a doctor may, or a paralegal and an attorney. Lots of different analogies can be used, but in a lot of cases, an enrolled agent is a great choice for a tax preparer or to assist you in an audit or collection issue.
Excellent. Yeah, somebody, and you definitely want to have a professional, somebody on your side in that situation, because the IRS auditor is not going to be looking out for you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And not all CPAs focus on representation work
Right.
also either. I mean, that is a core, and not all enrolled agents do, but most enrolled agents, I mean, our license as EAs is to represent before taxpayers. It's
Okay.
not, it doesn't allow us to do anything other than step into a taxpayer's shoes and really act as their attorney in fact.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you for that. That's that great little bit of education. And I think it's a perfect segue into, because it just goes to show the depth of knowledge and some of the things that set you apart from fellows in your industry. And, you know, to me, it seems like, and in general in accounting, but especially in tax prep, it seems a lot of folks that I've met anyway are very focused on numbers. I mean, when you're dealing with this kind of thing, you want somebody who's good at numbers, but less so on people. And that can sometimes make them a little bit difficult to deal with too, right? And in a lot
Absolutely.
of ways, this is, like you said, 400,000 tax preparers in the US. So to some degree, it's a commodity business. There's a lot of, a lot of choice out there, and a lot of the providers are more interested in quantity over quality. But one of the things that's always impressed me about your business is how focused you are on your core purpose and values. So why is purpose so important to you, and why did you build your business around it?
Yeah, so our mission statement can be found on our website, which is that the Blau company empowers our clients and community to participate in a confident financial future. And we went through this as part of a consulting exercise that we had with a consultant out of Australia, and really wanted to focus in on what kind of clients that we wanted to be looking for. Being the way that we were, we grew very organically, but we also grew without purpose. And
Mm.
that caused a little bit of a struggle, because then we have clients who are a little bit of everything. And if you have clients that are a little bit of everything, then that means that you're trying to be everything to everybody. And that's very, very difficult. It's really hard, especially in we are classified as a medium-sized firm by revenues,
Mm-hmm.
but most people would look at us as a small firm. We had about 6 accountants, we have some bookkeepers, and we have some admins. So we do have a breadth of services that a lot of small practitioners don't have, but you want to try to nail something down to be able to tell you that it's okay to not take certain clients. Oh,
Mm.
and that you should spend your time looking for those clients instead of these clients.
Yeah.
We spend our time when looking at our mission statement is we want clients that want to participate in the process, not just drop off a big box of stuff and say, here, have at it. In fact, I just got rather timely, I just got an email from a client, and he's a little bit upset at us. And he's upset because we've now sent 6 emails requesting the same information, and we said, we need this information by November 5th so that we can do the work. And
Yes.
he finally responded back, and he said, I don't do well with deadlines. You shouldn't be giving me a deadline. Well, the fact of the matter is we're trying to help you. We're trying to schedule your work. We're trying to give you a work product that makes sense in time for us to actually do tax planning services. And you're ignoring us. And if you're ignoring us, you're not participating.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to participate, hey, maybe we're not the right match. Maybe you do just want to have somebody who finds it acceptable for you just to drop your stuff on their doorstep. That's not us. We want people who want to be actively engaged in the process, who are going to ask us questions and who want to learn, not just stand idly by and say, whatever numbers you put on there is okay with me. That does not give us the long-term relationship that we're looking for. We want to have that interfacing, because our job, ultimately, our number one job is to provide education. That's it. We're an education firm.
Love it.
We do produce tax returns, and that tax return, but the decisions that you make based on the tax consequences or financial consequences are way more important than any piece of paper that I can get put in front of you.
That's true. Yeah, that's excellent. And so, I mean, it really segues into exactly what you're talking about, your core values. They're all very people focused, and you just said it yourself. And like I said, in this industry, people are a little bit, tend to be more focused on numbers than people. So why is it that having those relationships, why is that so important to you? And then how has it impacted the business?
Yeah, so I mean, we have a lot of clients who've been with us for a really long time, and that's um, because we're trying to get to that next level in the relationship.
Yep.
There's a couple big things behind it. Is uh, in order to do good tax planning, we have to be looking at the long term. In order to be looking at the long term, we really have to know what our clients want
Yes.
over a longer period of time. I can say, what I usually say is when I have clients that come in, I say, how about this? I can save you a bunch of money this year. Do you want to save a bunch of money? Jasmine, do you want to save a bunch of money?
Of course, who doesn't, right?
I have a great deduction for you. Do me a favor, write me a $50,000 check. You'll get to deduct that and you'll get a great deduction. Does that sound good to you?
Well, no, now.
Well, no, it's horrible.
50 grand for it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. You're going to spend $50,000 and I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to pay for a bar mitzvah for my son.
There you go.
Okay. So that is short-term thinking for just that year. And it's not good financial thinking. So the biggest thing when I have clients that come in, I say there are 3 factors to decision making. There's a tax factor, a financial factor, and an emotional factor.
Mm-hmm.
We put the tax factor aside because the tax factor is simply a result of whatever happens is best emotionally or financially.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Okay, so the tax factor we're going to plan for when we make the best financial emotional decision. Now you might say, but Aaron, you're a financial guy. Why would somebody talk to you about emotional things? Well, boy, I talk about emotional things all the time.
Yeah.
Clients say, hey, Aaron, I just got a big inheritance. Should I pay off my house? Well, if you have a low interest rate, you probably shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, the interest rates where they were a couple years ago, the money's close to free.
Yes.
So why would you take liquid funds that can generate 8 to 12% financially to pay off something that's only costing you 3.5%?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the financial part of it. But when they say, well, look, we get worried, they say, Aaron, but I worry so much all the time. I don't want to worry. Okay, fine, you know, my New York friend. Don't worry so much. Go ahead and pay the mortgage.
And they say it in just that accent too.
So
no,
yeah, just that accent. Oh, yeah, it is it. But,
no, it's true though. We actually did an interview with Diana Alarde where we were talking about how those unconscious behaviors affect us, and it really ties back to emotion, like those decisions we make. And it's great that you have those conversations. You can uncover that, and if it is something like, hey, yeah, it makes sense because it is just going to make you feel more comfortable, great. But then if you can educate them around the other opportunities, at least then they're making an educated decision and they're just not operating solely on emotion.
Yeah, absolutely. And we play that devil's advocate role all the time. I mean, I have clients that will come in and at the end of the year, they'll say, hey, Aaron, I had a great year. I want a good deduction. Should I go buy a new car? Well, okay. You know, tax consequences aside, buying a car is like the worst financial decision you can ever make.
Right.
You might as well just peel off $100 bills and flush it down the toilet. It's a terrible financial decision. So then you have to look and say, okay, is this client using a car as a way to measure their own self-worth? Is that the emotional part of the decision? Is this how they look at their own validation? And you have to say that. You have to say, do you need a new car? Do you understand this is not a great financial decision?
Yeah.
So that they can make the right decision for them. And then from there, if it's the emotional decision, like, look, I had a great year. I've been wanting a car. I've always wanted an Audi A6 my whole life. So this is how I'm going to reward myself. Great. That's fantastic.
Yep.
You're making an emotional decision. You're doing it consciously. You have the funds to be able to pull it off. Who am I to argue? Now let's talk about the tax consequences.
Yeah. Oh, excellent. Oh, I love it. Oh, that's brilliant. And that's a perfect segue. So this year, I think taxes has been on a lot of people's minds. We've certainly been hearing about it in the news because of tax reform. And so let's talk about both from this year, some of the things that people need to be aware of. But I think tax planning in general is something that particularly small businesses think that they don't really need to do. So what are some things that some mistakes small businesses make regardless of the year, just common ones, and then some specific ones we have to look out with the changes coming this year?
Yeah. So we'll say I don't have 17 years of experience, plus more years. I mean, I've really been working in my father's office since I was 13, in a college education, and I don't do 80 hours of continuing education, more than 80 hours of continuing education a year. I don't do that to prepare tax returns.
Yeah.
I do it so that I can provide good tax advice.
Yes.
So the biggest mistake a lot of small business owners make is not asking for the advice. Now their tax professional, regardless if it's somebody from a retail tax professional or a retail tax company that you would find on a street corner, or somebody who at the top of the tallest building, if you're not communicating what your needs are, and really utilizing the services that they have to offer, that's a big mistake.
Yep.
A lot of folks, less and less now, especially with the advent of better to use commercial software like QuickBooks Online and whatnot. A lot of people are only doing their accounting once a year, and they're doing it after the end of the year. They're doing it after everything's already been done, so they can't use that data to make good decisions.
Yes.
So keeping up on your bookkeeping, whether it's hiring a bookkeeper, using a professional CPA, doing it yourself, actually looking at that data as the year goes by.
No, that's great advice. I see that a lot with small businesses where it's like, how do you, and because it does change so much, and we're not dealing with huge numbers, like, with big corporations where they can budget for 6 months. That's just not how small business operates. And it's like, how do you make meaningful decisions in your business if you don't even really know like where you're at revenue wise, and like how much money you have in the bank account right now? Like, how can you make those decisions? Yeah.
Yeah, you're using the exact right term. How do you make meaningful decisions? Yeah. That's really what it comes down to. And keeping up to date. Look, the word accounting shares a root with the word accountable. So if you do your accounting, you do hold yourself accountable, because then you can look to see, and you can say, here's my revenue this year. This is what it was last year. Boy, it's a lot more. Maybe I need to talk to my accountant. Boy, it's a lot less. Maybe I need to get off my tuchus and actually do some work, or analyze why is my revenue down, or what customers are causing my revenue to be down.
Right.
Or if your revenue is up, but your cash is down, then you have to look and see, what should I be doing from an accounts receivable standpoint to maybe accelerate my cash flow? Because it's also about
I'm having such a good year, so I'm just writing checks willy-nilly, and so my expenses are way up too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a conversation with a young man the other day, and he said, my goal is to get my revenue higher. And I said, the problem is when revenue goes higher, most of the time spending goes higher too.
Yeah.
So you have to be very conscious of that. Yeah, I mean, look, talking about how the next year is going to look from a tax planning standpoint, most people are going to see a decrease in their taxes. But if you're not planning for that based on your estimated tax payments, or if you're not making estimated tax payments as a small business owner in the first place, it doesn't matter if you're not making estimated tax payments and you got to cut a $38,000 check instead of a $45,000 check, you're still cutting a big check. And I guarantee it, you're still not going to be happy. Nobody's going to be like, oh, but I thought I was going to pay nothing because of the new tax law. No, you're paying less. If I say the person across the street, but look, you're paying less. And they're going to say, but I'm still paying.
I'm still paying.
So that's where the tax planning comes in, so that folks know how much of their money they're actually going to be able to keep. And then this time of year, what moves can they make between now and the end of the year to keep more money? Do they plan for a self-employed pension IRA contribution, a SEP IRA? Do they create some other pension plan? If they already have an existing simple IRA that's a wage deferral, or a 401k that's a wage deferral, do they try to max that out by doing a bonus to themselves? There's lots of things that can be done between now and the end of the year. And having your books in order for us to analyze, and actually asking the question and participating in the process is just the really important thing for a small business owner at this point.
So step one, get your accounting together. So get in QuickBooks and actually get that data entered. Step two, then reach out to your accounting professional and ask for that help, because they will be able to provide that to you. And so then really, and it sounds like now's the right time to be doing that. So between October and December is really the time of year, because you still have time to make changes before you get into the next year.
Absolutely. November is a great month to do it.
Okay.
I mean, we are a year-round firm, but there's a lot of small practitioners that don't do a ton of work this time of year. So if your practitioner is a smaller practitioner, they have the time, and they should have the time and availability to be able to sit down and talk with you now. If they're a larger firm, you want to try to stick in November, because you have 2 months to make changes. Yeah. And in December, accounting firms get incredibly busy. December is not a down work, because what we're trying to do is get clients caught up from month 1 to month 11, so that when we hit January, February, we only have a small chunk of work to do instead of the whole trying to build the whole set of books.
So my parents owned a business.
November is your month.
And when I was in college and I would be home over Christmas, I would spend my Christmas break entering all of their financial data for the year so they could do the taxes. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like this is how we should be doing this. Granted, they didn't have a ton of transactions. He did like larger jobs with ADOT and stuff. But yeah, I'm like, this just doesn't seem right. Like, couldn't you do this all year round?
No. If you're going to do that, do it in November. And the other thing is, for tax preparers, in December is a huge month for continuing education for us.
Oh, yeah.
So like in our firm, we're doing continuing education to do updates. We're looking at how those updates affect certain clients. We're trying to proactively call those clients. So we're reaching out generally in that period of time. So November is a much better month for clients to contact us, or for a new client to switch over to us, because the onboarding process is going to be a lot smoother.
And so that's something, if somebody is working with a smaller preparer who really is just doing tax preparation, they're working January through April, that may be something that they could reach out to a firm like yours that is larger. So doing more besides just tax prep and be able to get some of those services.
Yeah, ultimately, if you're planning on switching firms, you need to make the decision in November or very early December.
Okay.
Because it's going to be very difficult for the new firm to onboard you effectively. Now, look, if you come to me in February and your books are in order and we're able to get things running, we're going to work hard at it, but we're going to be able to onboard much more effectively in November or December than we are going to be if it's in season. And we're also going to be able to give you some of that year-end advice in that period, and assist you with preparation for submission of data through having good organizers, making sure that we have good quality understanding of what is a deduction, what's not a deduction, because that can be an issue as well.
Sure. Well, isn't everything? No. So what are some questions you would recommend if somebody is listening to this and saying, hey, like, I want to go talk to somebody else. Like, I'm looking for more. What are some questions you should ask somebody when you're talking to different providers?
Yeah, so that's a great question. One of the big things is, what's your preferred, how do I contact you? What's your preferred method of contact?
Okay.
Millennials these days are doing a lot more in text, but the problem is, in our industry, texting is not standard in any way, shape, or form, and especially because it's not secure.
Yeah.
Also, when can I contact you? I know a particular practitioner. He's a good buddy of mine, but when the temperature hits 95, he's off to Michigan. They're gone. Now, they still do some work while they're out there, but they're not going to get together with somebody person to person. And they may not be able to get together with somebody via something like Zoom or something like Skype or whatever, because that's just not an industry standard there for us, because our industry tends to skew a little bit older and a little bit less technologically savvy in those areas. So how do I contact you? When can I contact you? Those are good ones. The question I love people to ask me, what professional associations are you a part of?
Okay.
I'm really big on this for a couple reasons. First of all, when you have somebody who says, hey, I'm a member of the Gilbert Chamber of Commerce, or I'm actively involved in the Arizona Society of CPAs, or I'm part of the National Association of Tax Problem Solvers. That's one that I'm not part of, but it is one of the ones out there. That gives you an idea about what their dedication to the profession actually is.
Yes.
And as well as the dedication to their community.
Yeah.
I know a lot of very small practitioners generally have very low fees who say, hey, I can't be part of this professional association. The dues are too expensive. Well, how much are the dues? $250 a year. Well, if you can't afford dues of $250 a year to your professional association that represents and protects your rights, that's an issue. That means that that's somebody who does not want to invest in their professional community in any way. And if they're not investing in their professional community, are they really investing in themselves? Are they really investing in their relationships?
Right. Are they invested
it's
in
a tough
business?
call.
Right? Or is this
are
just
they
something
invested
you're
in
doing?
business? Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So I generally like to see, I'm very active in the National Association of Enrolled Agents. I've held a couple national chairmanships. I help out and run our East Valley chapter as well. So, I know, and I would never talk poorly about any one of my colleagues because I know them, I see them, I get together with them, they call me for questions, I call them for questions. We're part of a community, and we know that there's plenty of business out there for all of us. So that's the attitude that I take in relation to saying, hey, not everybody who walks in the door is a good match for me. But if you're not a good match for me, let me see if I can find somebody who I know and trust who you could be a good match with. And in that way, I'm very dedicated to my professional community and doing that in service of our overall East Valley community as well.
No, I love that. I mean, and you talk about community right in your mission, and you're speaking my language. I feel exactly the same way. Some of my best friends are, what you would deem my competitors, but for that very reason, somebody comes to me and says, hey, I have this project, and I'm like, that's not our bag, but I've got somebody great you can talk to. Well, and it's so wonderful to have another professional you can use as a sounding board too. I mean, it's so, particularly when you're like the owner of the business, right? The one in charge, like it can be a little isolating. You can't necessarily go talk to your staff about what's going on, but you've got somebody else who's in that same boat that can offer advice.
Absolutely. And that's really one of the biggest benefits. The enrolled agent community tends to be a fairly isolated community with a lot of sole practitioners, whereas the CPA firms, there's a lot of infrastructure and environment of larger CPA firms and folks who operate as larger groups. Most enrolled agents are solo practitioners, and there's quite a lot that operate out of their houses or small office suites. So that isolating feature really plays a lot of games with you. So having a good professional association relationship, whether it's participating on a web board, on Facebook. I actually run the largest Facebook group for enrolled agents in the country. I started it 8 years ago. And we have over 2,000 people who are able to talk and converse and say, hey, I have this situation. Hey, I have that situation. How would you handle it? What would you say to this client? What would you say to this IRS agent? How can we strategize? It really is a great value for people if they're involved in their professional community. So,
all the better then for your clients too, because you've got that depth of knowledge. So if for somebody does walk in the office and they have a question that you're like, I just don't know the answer to that, you've got a wonderful pool of people. So it just makes you that much better at being able to help your clients too.
Yeah. And some of that comes down to not letting your pride get ahead of you. In my opinion, if a client comes to me with a question that I don't know, the best thing that you can say is, I don't know that, but I know somebody who does.
Yeah.
Or I don't know that off of the top of my head, but I have a resource that I can read. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I know I saw an article in my professional journal about that. So let me get caught up. Or even, hey, I don't know that, but let me call Aaron Blau. He's my buddy who's down the road. We collaborate on stuff all the time.
He'll fill me in.
So I'm very welcoming of that.
No, I love that. I think it's great. And like you said, you can't let your ego get in the way. You've gotta, if you try to fake it till you make it, and particularly when you're talking about really technical stuff like taxes and stuff like what I do, you can get yourself in a ditch really fast. So it's much better just to admit it, say, let me do some research, let me talk to somebody, I'll get back to you, than try to fake that too.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to that sort of like humility aspect, one of our core values is we know small business because we are small business. We do this part of we do that, we do this part of our small business. But when I sit across from the desk with somebody, I've gone through all the same things that they've gone through. I'm more than willing to share all of my errors and mistakes and misjudgments. I don't have a problem with that because, I've made bad hires. I've made mistakes with clients and messed up long relationships. That is an education for me, and it's a valuable education for me, and it's an education I'm more than willing to share with people. We know small business because we are small business. We're no different than the people who are sitting across the desk. They may be able to bake something and we're able to do taxes, but we're going through all the same stuff at the same time.
Oh, it's so true. We did an interview with Jody Owen, who's a coach, and she talks about how having your own business, being a small business owner, is like one of the best personal growth opportunities you'll ever encounter, because you're always having to learn something new. You're having to have that humility and admit, like, yeah, I messed up. Okay, what can I do to make it right? Because it does happen. And
Absolutely.
So, I tell you, it pushes me out of my comfort zone every day, but at the same time, I absolutely love it because I feel like I'm such a better human being for having had the business.
Yeah, I mean, the scariest thing that you can ever have is somebody who's absolutely 100% sure of just about anything.
Yeah.
There's no guarantees. There can always be little things that block in the way or something like that. So as a small business owner, you have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with these days, everything's changing so fast. Like, it's hard to be an expert in anything because, and across all industries, it's not just technology. It's just everything. There's something new all the time. And so, to say that you know everything about a topic, that's pretty hard to do anymore.
Yep, exactly.
And so this conversation's been great. And I think it really illustrates that you're so much more. I mean, we talked a little bit about taxes, but so much more than a tax, and really even an accounting firm. Like, there is so much that you do. Why don't you talk us through some of the things specifically that you can help small businesses with? I know you've got some great assessments on your website, so maybe talk us through what that looks like as well.
Yeah. So, there's a variety of services that we provide. The primary service being providing peace of mind for our clients. That gets delivered in a lot of different ways, whether it's assisting clients in their bookkeeping by actually taking that part over, reviewing their work to make sure it looks accurate, ensuring taxes are being filed on time. That's all kind of the compliance area of what we do.
Yep.
We are an after the fact bookkeeping. We don't do the one thing we don't do is something called, in the industry, we call it full charge bookkeeping. So we don't cut checks for our clients. We don't pay their bill for them. We don't invoice their clients for them. We don't do that kind of back office work. What we do primarily is code, classify, and reconcile transactions that the taxpayer has already done. We utilize the industry-leading QuickBooks Online software to do that. We're one of the early adopters of QuickBooks Online. We really press the software because it has incredible efficiencies and collaboration tools between us and clients. I think we're a little bit rare in this regard because there's a lot of times accountants are very resistant to change. We have certain processes and procedures, and we don't change them. Being a little bit more
accountant I've ever talked to, I've asked them about QuickBooks Online, and you're the first one who said that he prefers it and that he finds it's more efficient for his business. So I think that's like amazing. Clearly, you've got some secret sauce there that all the others do not.
Well, the secret sauce that I have is that we don't have a choice but to love it. It is the future. It is the best collaborative tool that exists. And in 15 years, when people who are used to doing things that are cloud-based are only doing things cloud-based, all these other folks who are resistant to change, they're probably going to be retired. So they don't care that much. I'm probably not going to be retired in 15 years. So we have to adapt.
Yeah.
It's definitely a struggle within our industry, but we have to adapt. And yes, you're right. I usually say if you ask 10 accounting firms, 9 out of 10 are going to tell you that they don't like QuickBooks Online.
I
It
would
doesn't
even
matter
venture to
whether you
say like
like it or not.
9.9
It's
out of
what's
10.
going to,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. It's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere, and you adapt or you die, and that's it. We like QuickBooks Online. We do consult with clients over all sorts of different things. For a lot of my clients, I'm the only financial person they see. Now, we don't sell insurance products. We don't do investment advisory. We don't do anything but taxation, which gives us the opportunity to be very independent in the advice that we give. So we'll have clients that will come in and they'll say, hey, should I buy more life insurance? No, maybe. Yes, maybe. And here's somebody I trust that I can refer you out to. We'll have clients that will come in and say, should I refinance my mortgage? No, maybe. Yes. Here's somebody who I trust to refer you out to. I want to expand my business because I need to do this. All right, well, let's talk that through, and maybe we can bring in a third-party advisor. Here's somebody I trust. So we're going through a lot of these. We go through these questions with clients, and we're willing to use our experience to give them, to let them in on the experiences that other clients have had. Our firm is I looked at some publicly available numbers in terms of e-filing statistics.
Yeah.
We're in the top 5% of any location that e-files in the entire valley.
Oh, wow.
That includes the retail guys too.
Oh, okay.
So we've seen a lot. We see a lot of people on a regular basis. Our ears are always to the ground. We're going to be one of the first to know when a recession's coming. We're going to be one of the first to know because we're going to be looking at our clients' books and seeing receivables extending out. We're going to see clients who are getting laid off or going on unemployment or taking riskier positions. So we're using the experience that we have with the 1,400 some returns that we prepare annually to be able to apply somebody else's successes or errors to any client situation.
So not only using your own experience, but the experience that everybody you come across, which with a firm of your size, I think it's crazy that you're classified as a small firm, but with the number of people you have in the office and the experience and the number of clients you're able to help, really just a great pool of knowledge and resources. So if a business owner is listening to this and liking what they're hearing and saying, yeah, I got to talk to Aaron Blau and the Blau company, like how do they get in touch with you? Like what would be the next steps?
Great. Well, I'm just about, we're very, very easy to find. Our website is Blauco, BLAUCO.com. You can find us on Twitter at the Blau Co. You can find us on Facebook, search the Blau Company, and then you're going to get to see some photos and some other things that we do social media wise or have done social media wise. We're really easy to find. Also on Facebook as well as our website, we have an integrated appointment feature there. So if it's 10 o'clock at night, you're listening to this podcast or watching the video, or it pops into your head, hey, I need to make an appointment. You don't have to call us. You just go on, you click, request a couple days of the week, put in a note for us, and my staff will get back to you the following day. We have appointment confirmations. We have all sorts of good information out there about my firm, the Blau Company.
Well, and I have to say, having been the one who assisted in building that website, like it is impressive how you guys have integrated technology, and not just for the sake of integrating technology, but really in meaningful ways to ease that customer interaction so that, I do think of it, that's one of my big things is I hate returning phone calls because I'm so busy during the day. It's like 7 o'clock at night and I'm like, oh, wait, it's too late to call. Whereas if I can go online, click book an appointment or, do something where, okay, I've got the few minutes now, I can at least let them know, kind of get that off my plate. So I love the booking online for your existing clients. The way you guys have integrated the pay online, I think is great. There's lots of great educational information. And then you've got your assessments in there as well, so where people can go in and kind of do a little bit of digging on their own and get a sense of where they're at too.
Yeah, we have some assessments, and we also have a great section on tax organizers there too.
Yeah.
Whether you use us or don't, or those tax organizers are really valuable for clients who are getting their really small business Schedule C kind of stuff organized, their office and home, their Schedule E rental activities. All those organizers are right available on our website. We also have some other collaborative tools for electronic signature, for special elections for small businesses, regarding their capitalization agreements. So we do try to use our website in a very active manner, and our engagement letter is on there as well. Not on our website, but an online tool. For any of our individual tax clients, they get to use something called Intuit Link. Intuit Link is a great online organizer software where they can upload document, or they can answer our typical questionnaire, but they can also upload any of their documents via their phone, take a picture of their W-2 and upload it to us. If they have financial services accounts with most of the major brokerages like E-Trade or Merrill Lynch or any of that, they can enter in their login and password, and when their information is available, it'll automatically download into their Link portal. So they don't even have to send us their 1099s for dividends or interest or their stock sales. Everything is going to can happen straight through the Intuit Link software, either through your computer or actually on your phone. So we do offer a lot of great tools to be able to collaborate and provide as accurate of a return as possible.
Oh, I love that link. So I got to tell you, the hardest part every year of getting our tax paperwork together is the stock stuff, because that's the one thing my husband controls. And I feel like I have to beat him with a stick to get that information. I'm like, I've compiled the 20 other documents, this one document, man, can you just get it? So that's very cool that it can just pull over automatically. And then inevitably we get the wrong information. We take it to the accountant. He's like, yeah, this isn't what I needed. Like, we need a different report.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the great thing. You log on, it's going to download the exact stuff that we need, because Intuit knows what we need. And then also one of the other really cool things, especially about the phone app for Intuit Link, is that now you can start submitting things as you receive them, as opposed to sticking it in a drawer, sticking in an envelope, and having to wait for your appointment. When we start seeing, we send all of our Link invitations out in January, and we enter those every day as they come in. So if somebody is using ADP and they type in their login information for ADP, that W-2 will download. We'll get that put into our system when it downloads. We won't wait for the appointment. So in some cases, we have clients' returns entirely ready when they come in to walk in for their appointment, and then we can talk about the other stuff. The consulting stuff, or just it's about kids and life and
all the great
what it's like to have just turned 39 years old, which is just wonderful. Stuff like that.
I'm taking that. That's a personal one there.
Yeah, it's a personal one. I'm in the final year of those 30. I'm just slamming up against that midlife crisis, I'll tell you.
Oh, we'll throw you a big party next year, Aaron. We'll make it fun. Trust me, as someone who passed that milestone a couple of years ago, it really is like, it's a speed bump. No big deal. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to ask you the final question that we ask everybody, and this is just something, because I always love to hear the answer to this. How is it that you stay, because you are clearly passionate about your business, which particularly when you're dealing with financial stuff can be a little bit tricky. I love financial people that are passionate about it, though, because it's so important. How do you stay passionate about your business?
Boy, that's a great question. I'll be perfectly honest with you, and I'll get a little bit deep and a little raw here.
That's why we asked.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ran this business with my father for many, many years. He unfortunately passed as a result of an injury last February, and I got to tell you, the past 6 months, it's been hard. It's been really hard to try and figure out and maintain that fire and the passion. I've been very fortunate still to be able to see a lot of very happy things for my clients as they either sell their businesses or start new ones. And that's really the fun part of it all. In this particular business, where it can be seen as a lot of paper pushing, I get a lot of times clients that come in and say, oh, it's like seeing the dentist. Well, I saw the dentist yesterday, and I'm still hurting. So I can't imagine, it's when they say that, it's like, right
I
now,
love going
right.
to the dentist, but that's because I zone out and meditate really easily. So I just like get in my zone, and I feel like I get an extra hour sleep while I'm there. But I realize I'm not your average person either.
Yeah. So, to be honest with you, it has been tough, and
Okay.
I'm willing to share that with people because, again, it's part of the core value. All right, we are we know small business because we are small business. I share that with people that and I ask them that same question: how do you
Yeah.
keep on rolling? So, luckily, I think we're coming out of it. I got some good things in the plans that may come to fruition before the next season hits. So I hope that you keep an eye on blauco.com, keep an eye on our Facebook, on our Twitter, and we may have some really cool stuff to be announced coming up in the next couple months.
All right. Well, now you gave us something to look forward to. So excellent. So we will absolutely make sure you and I will have to talk some more. And I appreciate you being so open and authentic with us, because it is true. I mean, 9 days out of 10, like, it's really exciting to be in business, and particularly because I think you do it the same reason I do, which is seeing our clients succeed, and particularly working with other businesses and seeing the impact they make in the community. Just as there's just no way to describe that feeling. However, there are those days, and and sometimes it, like you said, it happens in a series of events over months where you're just like, I just, I'm not into it right now. So I appreciate you sharing that with us too, because
Yeah.
I think it's helpful for other business people to know that, not every day is a good day too.
Yeah, that's one thing about me is I'm about as real as you can get. I try to be as honest as I can. When we do things right, we celebrate. When we do things wrong, we make it right. And we know that we're not perfect, but hopefully those relationships, that's what allows us to maintain, to be able to say, hey, look, this didn't go as well as it should have, but we're going to get it fixed for you.
Yep.
And by establishing a deeper relationship with a client, then, here's your number, sign here, congratulations, you get a refund. We're more than that. We want to be more than that. And we constantly strive to be more than that.
Excellent. Well, I think that is a perfect note to end on. Erin, thank you so much for talking with us today. I appreciate you.
We hope you enjoyed episode 5 of the SMB Labs podcast presented by 910 West. We hope you enjoyed that episode. If you know a small business thinking about their taxes, please show them the show notes below. Thank you so much. See you next time.